Welcome to the Daily Ride and welcome to the channel. Today I've got a hack for all the bike packers amongst you watching this. Now, for those of you that do bike pack like myself, thigh rub can be extremely irritating. And just to make sure we know what we're talking about here, here's a photo of a traditional touring setup. This is Matthias and Arev, who are on a round the world trip, who stayed with me recently. Leave a link in the description to their channel, it's well worth watching. And here is an example of a bikepacking bike. And now here's my bike. Now, did you see the difference? Because it's possible that you didn't between the second and the third photos. So to explain this more fully, let's take this outside. Okay guys, first of all, I'm going to show you the bikepacking seat post bag mounted in probably the same way that 99% of people are going to mount this bag. You can see there are, or maybe not, there's attachments up here onto the saddle and then a couple of straps around here. Very, very normal, but the problem is, for some people, our thighs actually rub against this part of the bag and it can be very annoying. Honestly, I don't know why thigh rubbing is an issue for some people and not for others. Maybe it's to do with the geometry of the bike, where the saddle is in relation to the seat post, how much setback there is. I really don't know. For me, it almost completely put me off bike packing. I tried one bag and it just rubbed against my thighs again and again and again, but I've come up with this little hack. So I'm going to take the bag off, put it onto my touring bike and then show you the difference. Now the bag's actually mounted on a handlebar mount extension. Now this would normally go into the bars here. You can put lights, your computer, other things on. So what I've done is I've just moved it round and attached it here, so that gives about 4 or 5 mils, which means my thighs will stop here and my thighs never touch the bag. It's absolutely perfect in terms of giving comfort. It really is. I think that should give you a better idea of how I've done this. Now these things, they're super cheap, they really are. You can pick them up for less than $10, €10, £10, maybe as little as £5, €5, £5. They don't weigh very much, they're very easy to attach. However, on here I've had to put some tape around because that's just a little bit too big. If you don't want to use tape, you could use shims, rubber shims if you've got them, but still pretty easy to attach. It's a great system, it really works for me, but it's not completely without its faults. Because when you do mount it, there's a couple of sharp bits on the actual extension mount, and that's caused a tiny bit of damage, which I'll show you on the end here. It's not terrible, it's just made a small mark in the outer fabric. The outer fabric underneath is actually fine, so it's still waterproof. Your things are still protected. I think what's happened is this ridge here has actually rubbed against the outer bag, so in future I'm just going to tape this up. So there you have it. It's a super easy, super cheap and super effective way to stop thigh rub. If you have any better ideas, I'd love to hear them. I don't think this solution's exactly perfect, but I can tell you I've recently been on a 2-week tour and I've had no issues whatsoever, and I've used this before as well, and again, no issues other than the little problem with the tear or the scratch more or less in the outer material, which I think is easy to fix. I'm surprised that bikepacking companies haven't come up with something to actually fix thigh rub. I can't believe there's nothing out there, and I think the system could be made a lot more, I don't know what's the word, maybe slicker, because that's quite a primitive way to do it. I think a couple of clamps with a better quality tubing and maybe something that's just a little bit flatter to support the bag would actually work. But one last thing is, I do find the position of the bag much better when it's pushed further away from the seat post in terms of aerodynamics and the way the bag sits up as well. That's all for today. I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here's another couple of videos on the screen now you might like to watch. Take care.